In our last video, we looked at some of the most and least affordable housing markets in the English-speaking world and touched on some of the major influences on affordability in these countries. Today, we're taking a closer look at one of the nations that has struggled in recent decades with unaffordable housing, New Zealand, and exploring steps it took to improve affordability in its largest urban centre. This is New Zealand, a land of breathtaking beauty nestled in the southwestern Pacific. Located to the southeast of Australia, this island nation consists of two main landmasses, North Island and the South Island, amongst many smaller ones. Despite its relatively modest size of 268,000 square kilometers, which places it somewhere between the size of the UK and Italy, New Zealand boasts an incredibly diverse landscape, from lush forests and spectacular mountains to rugged coastlines and pristine glacial lakes, all of which have long been a draw to visitors and new residents alike. Home to 5.3 million people, New Zealand's cities are as vibrant and diverse as its scenery. Amongst its three largest cities are Christchurch, the largest city on the South Island with a population of approximately 390,000. Christchurch is known as the Garden City due to its many beautiful parks and gardens, and has shown remarkable resilience in its rebuilding efforts following the 2011 Christchurch earthquake. Heading north, we arrive at Wellington, the capital city situated at the southern tip of the North Island. With a population of about 420,000, Wellington is the political and cultural heart of the nation. And last but not least is Auckland, located in the northern region of the North Island, nestled between the Tasman Sea and the Pacific Ocean. With a population of over 1.6 million people, it's the largest city in New Zealand and is known as the City of Sails for supposedly boasting more boats per capita than any other city in the world. Over the past 2 decades, Auckland, like many of its Anglosphere counterparts in such countries as Australia, Canada, and the US, saw steadily rising home prices that outstripped income growth and began to erode locals' abilities to afford a home. It's a story for another day, and a touchy subject for some, but one of the factors tying together asynchronous price escalation in housing markets as geographically distant as Sydney, San Francisco, and Toronto was an influx of offshore capital into their housing markets, most notably from an economically ascendant China. Other factors like immigration-friendly policies fueling sustained growth, the introduction of the millennial generation into the housing market, restrictive land use and development policies, and, more recently, a COVID-induced real estate frenzy, are all other factors that have been cited as contributing to some of these countries' housing woes over the last decade or two. Causal factors aside, skyrocketing property prices and a shortage of affordable housing led New Zealand into a housing crisis, with many Aucklanders struggling to find suitable accommodation. And so, as demand outpaced supply, central and local governments began instituting initiatives aimed at decreasing demand, such as a 2018 ban on foreign real estate buyers, as well as initiatives targeting increased housing supply. On the supply side, in November 2016, Auckland implemented significant land use changes by eliminating single-family zoning across 3/4 of its residential land area in favor of permitting higher density forms. This came as a result of the so-called Auckland Unitary Plan, or AUP. This practice of increasing density in an area through the rezoning or pre-zoning of large areas of land is also sometimes referred to as upzoning. The development of the AUP spanned several years, with a draft version released in 2013 that provided an opportunity for the development community to get familiar with and make preparations for the new regulations prior to their 2016 adoption. Also starting in 2013, developers were given early access to the new provisions of the AUP within lands designated special housing areas, provided that they incorporated a certain amount of affordable housing units into their projects. As a result of this phased test pilot approach, the upzoning process began to influence housing supply from as early as 2013. But the full launch of the Auckland Unitary Plan in 2016 resulted in a notable surge in the construction of new housing units, primarily in the form of multi-unit dwellings. While a portion of this increase may have occurred independently of the policy change, 2 comprehensive studies offer insight on the policy's impacts. First, in a 2023 study by Greenaway-McGrevy and Phillips, a comparative analysis was carried out between upzoned and non-upzoned areas of Auckland to help discern the policy's effects. The results indicated higher levels of construction activity in the upzoned areas, although it was noted that the upzoned areas likely attracted development investment that might have otherwise occurred outside the upzoned areas if not for the AUP. However, the findings suggest that the policy led to an addition of 20,000 new dwellings over a 5-year period, representing an overall 4% increase in the Auckland housing stock within that timeframe. In another 2023 study by Greenaway-McGrevy, Auckland is compared with some of New Zealand's other urban centres to provide another method of comparison for determining the policy's impacts. That study found that over the 6 years following the AUP's 2016 implementation, the number of new housing starts in Auckland surpassed the synthetic control comparison areas outside of Auckland by approximately 43,500 starts, which accounts for around 45% of the total permits issued in Auckland since 2016. And so this second study suggested an even more substantial impact resulted from the AUP than initially revealed by the first study. So Auckland was apparently successful at increasing housing supply with the introduction of the AUP in 2016, but has it actually helped make housing more affordable in the years since? Well, stay tuned for part 2, where we'll dive deeper into the impacts on Auckland's rents and sales prices, as well as the plan's overall reception from residents. Let us know what you think about Auckland's approach to housing supply in the comments below, and if you enjoyed today's video, please tell us by hitting like and subscribe. Thanks for watching.